Përshëndetje, miqtë të Klan Kosovës, e mirë se takohemi në këtë edicion special të ndrimit të natës, i cili të ju tashmë vjen që 2 sezone. Në fakt, gjatë këtyre 2 viteve që ka startuar NIN-i, besoj që ka sjellë një shihet e mirë tek shikuesi duke përgatitur her pas here edicione festive speciale për festa të ndryshme. Natyrisht edhe kjo ditë nuk bën ndonjë ndryshim. I kemi kushtuar 4 korrikut apo ditës së pavarësisë së Shteteve të Bashkuara të Amerikës, të cilët festojnë sot 241 vjetorin e pavarësimit, aleatin më i madh i mikut dhe miku më i madh i shqiptarëve. Në fakt, sot do flasim për 18 vjet e KFOR-it amerikan, cilat kanë qenë përshtypjet e tyre, si është zhvilluar, si është të jetosh në një jetë militare në KFOR, dhe për biseduar për këtë sonte me neve do të kemi të ftuarit tanë, por para se të zbuloj të ftuarit tanë, ne në pjesën e 2 do të kemi orkestrën e qytetit të Ferizajt me dirigenti Lindita Isufi, ndërsa do të performojnë kapiteni Larry Leap këngët America the Beautiful Can't Help Falling in Love, Djelza Fazliu të ta këndoj këngën Amazing Grace, ndërsa Erza Qerkini Dancing Queen, por përveç asaj Lidona Spahiu do ta ketë edhe këngën Lemza. Këto janë ato që ka ju presin në pjesën e 2, ndërsa në pjesën e parë, siç e paralajmërova, do të kemi të ftuar Kolonel Corvin Lusk, First Sergeant Sarah Jonesi dhe First Lieutenant Dustin Lawson. I ftojmë në studio. Mr. Vini, I'm talking in Albanian at the beginning, right. Since we're gonna continue our show, our conversation in English. Mi mbrëma njerë dhe mi serdët, si që përmenda aleati dhe miku më i madh i kosovarëve amerikanë, do flasim për 18 vjet të KFOR-it amerikan në Kosovë dhe ballafaqimet e tyre, jeta e tyre deri më sot sa ka ndryshuar, ndërsa Donika ka përgatitur një material interesant.
Po, isha në kampin Bosnjë. Të pramtën, pritën
si kalove.
Një Amerikë e vogël brenda Kosovës, nuk ndjeva as pak si Kosovë.
Duke se është vështirë me hyrë në kampin e Bosnjës.
Ishte vështirë, vëllazën na ka shqetësuar gjatë kohës, niveli i sigurisë ishte i hatashëm, po besoj që askush deri më tash nuk ka arritur as gishtin ta fut për terë rrethojas. Është e maneshme, është një Amerikë e vogël brenda Kosovës, gjithçka është amerikane, deri te tavolinat dhe karriget.
Deri te tavolinat dhe karriget.
Ndoshta edhe dheu.
Okay, ne do ta shohim materialin. We're gonna see the story that Donika did, and then we're going to come back and continue. Ç'ndërojmë ne?
Nëse nuk keni qenë asnjëherë në Shtetet e Bashkuara, mos t'ju mbetet merak. Kosova tashmë ka një copëz amerike brenda territorit të saj, nga ku për vjet të tëra ka garantuar paqe e siguri për shtetasit kosovar. Në pjesën lindore të vendit në afërsi të Ferizajt, Shtetet e Bashkuara kishin ndërtuar një bazë ushtarake që në periudhën e pas luftës pati një rol kyç në paqeruajtje. Kampi ushtarak i amerikanëve i quajtur Bunstill shërbente si selia e KFOR-it të delerguar nga Aleanca Veriatlantike për të siguruar Kosovën në periudhën pas konfliktit të armatosur me Serbinë. Amerikanët kanë sjellë në këtë anë të Kosovës hijen e tokës së tyre, duke shndërruar atë vend në bazën më të madhe ushtarake amerikane në Ballkan. Fortifikata amerikane që në shikim të parë të jep përshtypjen se është e pafundme, e ka marrë emrin e një ushtari amerikan që kishte shërbyer në luftën e Vietnamit, James Leroy Bunstill, i cili më pas që shpërblyer me medalje nderi nga presidenti i atëhershëm Richard Nixon. Ky vend është një qytet më vete, mund të sistemojë deri në 7.000 trupa ushtarake. Në fillim kishte mbi 2.500, ndërsa tash ka gjysmën e këtij numri. Është menduar hollësisht deri në detajin e fundit dhe gjithçka mban vulën amerikane, deri te tavolinat e karriget që ndodhen në kuzhinën e kampit. Niveli i sigurisë është i hekurt, i pathyeshëm. Rrethoja që e ndan kampin është e padepërtueshme nga kushdo që tenton të hyjë brenda, pa lejen apo ftesën e atyre që drejtojnë me këtë Amerikë të vogël brenda Kosovës. Por në anën tjetër, aty të gjithë janë mikpritës, kur u shkon për vizitë dhe të tregojnë pa hezitim gjithçka që ka brenda. Me ushtarët madje mund të hedhësh edhe një lojë bilardo, por kujdes se të mundin. Një sipërfaqe tejet e madhe prej 386 hektarësh mbrohet në çdo pëllëm nga forcat amerikane, të cilat ndodhen aty që nga gushti I vitit 1999. Baza ka brenda të gjitha kushtet infrastrukturore e logjistike që një njeriu mund t'i duhen për një standard të mirë jete, e ndoshta edhe shumë më tepër se aq. Për brenda kësaj baze që për të ndërtuar amerikanëve juždashur t'i rrafshojnë 2 kodra, ka edhe një pistë helikopterësh. Aty gjejnë spitalin ushtarak, ndërtesën e zjarrfiksëve, salla lojrash e palestre, kuzhinën gjigante, një dyqan ku shiten marka të njohura amerikane, një kafene dhe fusha futbolli e volejbolli. As jeta kulturore aty nuk mungon. Madje është prezente më shumë se kudo tjetër. Në Bond Still, ushtarët kanë një dyqan kitarash, ku edhe këndojnë e shkruajnë këngë si kjo.
For my darling, I'd love you, and I always will. Love me tender, love me sweet.
Kampi që tani ka emër edhe në botë u ndërtua në afërsi të Ferizajt, ka punësuar me qindra kosovar, të cilët punojnë aty tash një kohë të gjatë.
Till the end of time.
Një ditë e kaluar në këtë vend të jep ndjenjën e sigurisë, të prezanton me disiplinën ushtarake dhe zakonet e lezetshme që ata kanë. Ushtarët amerikanë vinë këtu me mision 1 vjeçar, duke bërë rotacione. Ata largohen për në Shtetet e Bashkuara për të dërguar ndoshta atje një copës Kosove.
Okej, një durat rëgjitje, kjo ishte materiali që e ka përgatitur Donika Lamazema. So, how was it, Donika, being there for a day?
It was great. Dustin was with me all the day long.
Yeah.
It was a usual American day all over.
And it seems that Elvis Presley is quite popular, huh?
Oh, yes, with most soldiers and with most people in the world as well.
Exactly.
Larry is one of the biggest fans of Elvis Presley, as I
Yes, he is constantly singing Elvis. If you listen closely, you can probably hear him around Camp Bondsteel.
First of all, happy Independence Day. It's the 4th of July. And how do you celebrate actually Independence Day here in Kosovo or in missions that you were before?
Yeah, so typical American fashion. We'll have some good barbecue, some food. We'll have everybody together celebrating as much like it is back in the United States, where we bring friends and family together and celebrate over some pretty good food.
So it's a great party.
It is.
Within Bondsteel.
Yes.
All right. When did you arrive in Kosovo?
We got here in November of last year, and so we've been here ever since.
Since November. And after how many months you are supposed to stay as a mission in Kosovo?
Usually about 9 months.
9 months.
So,
can you prolong it or no?
No.
You can travel.
Yeah.
If you misjudge,
I mean, there's the opportunity to. There's some positions I think that you can extend for and stay later.
Would you like to stay here for more months?
I don't know if I have that option, but
it's in front of the TV.
Yeah, right.
Now we got you.
Can I have a show?
We're gonna keep you here. Actually, yeah.
Is it Kosovo as you imagined before?
I will be honest, I've never imagined Kosovo before until I heard it
So
was
you
coming
haven't heard
here,
before the war and
yeah, right.
Okay.
But it's nice.
I mean, I've been to Europe before, so I just kind of associated it with all of that.
But it's totally different from Europe. It's You think so, or you don't think so?
Food and culture, so a lot of it seems the same. Well, the food is great, yeah, and you met a lot of interesting people. And I'm a writer, so I'm always looking for new material. And this entire deployment has been a lot of great material, I think. I'll find in a book someday.
Did you find an interesting story for your next book?
Lots of different things, but you'll have to read the book when it comes out.
Like, can you share something with us? What does inspire you actually to write here? What got your attention?
The dynamic of all the different cultures that are here, along with all the history that's in this location. And honestly, I was thinking of writing a love story about a soldier that falls in love with someone, a Serbian woman and an Albanian woman, and using that context to explain all of the culture and the history of this area.
Sounds very busy.
Exactly.
Mr. Lesk, I'd like to know if you had any prejudge for Kosovo before you arrived here.
Not prejudging. I'd spent some time in the Balkans before on a previous assignment, and so I know a little bit about what to expect. But I spent a lot of time reading and just talking to other people that had been here.
What did they told you?
What they told me is exactly what it is. It's a very culturally rich area. And it has a lot of beauty naturally, and also with the people here. And it's a place that once you come to the Balkans as a foreigner, I think it always kind of sticks in your head and it sticks in your heart. And it's a beautiful place.
In which other countries of the Balkan have you been?
So I was in Bosnia right after the war ended there in 1997.
Have you seen any differences? Because even though we are a different state, Kosovo and Bosnia, but still we used to belong to ex-Yugoslavia. So since it was in 90s, I guess, when you were
20 years ago.
20 years ago, and you came back almost 20 years later. Have you seen any differences in the Balkans? Total.
Well, just from a security standpoint, the Balkans and Bosnia in particular in 1997 isn't like Kosovo in 2017. And you've seen the progress that has been made once peace has a chance to take root, which you see here, which you didn't see in Bosnia at the time. But a lot of similarities, though. So I think a lot of people focus on the differences. I find, as a foreigner coming here, a lot of similarities between the people.
What are the similarities between the people in Bosnia and Kosovo?
So the food, for instance, the culture, just the way that they look at life, the importance of religion. While it may not be the same religion, it's the same importance. It's the importance of family, I think. You know, whether you're Serbian, Bosnian, Albanian, it's that family that is really the root of what you do. And I always tell people there are more similarities amongst the people of the Balkans than there really are differences.
Exactly. I think I don't want to say the word we hate each other, but we cannot stand each other because we are so similar, like the others.
Did you had the chance to meet Kosovo people?
Oh yeah, so in my role as commander of camp of the American forces here in Kosovo, I do get out a lot and I make a lot of connections with different people, whether they're in government or just whether they're part of industry. It's one of the best things about my job. I think I would tell people every day I have the best job in Kosovo as the commander of American forces in KFOR. But I realize, you know, in a lot of ways it's a gift. But I also realize I'm just a caretaker of that gift.
Which places in Kosovo have you already visited? Which cities, I mean?
I've been from Leposavic to Vjet to Zubin Potok to Mitrovica. I'll go all the way down south.
Which one do you like the most?
I would tell you I probably do enjoy what I've seen the most, and that is the Ferizaj, the Strepsha, that whole area down there by Bonstu.
But would you live here?
Yes.
Really?
Really?
I would.
What about you too?
Oh, definitely.
Really?
The cost of living's a lot lower. That's good for me. I used to live in Washington,
You
D.C.
get the American wage over here, so
I think Luton wanted to say that I want an American wage and live in Kosovo.
Yes, that was the.
Since you told us that you say that you have the best job in Kosovo. I don't know if you ever been it's not accepted but welcomed in other countries like in Kosovo, having in consideration that Kosovo is a huge
country. It's a huge pro-American country.
It's a huge pro-American country. Have you noticed it already, or you haven't?
Maybe Ms. John should respond.
No, I have noticed it whenever we're out and about traveling around the cities. They're always wanting to take pictures with us.
They would be waving at you.
Yeah.
Okay.
What do you people say to you when they see you
They
at the
just
city?
say welcome and hello and what do you do for the army. And
what it's like to be a woman in a place full with men in Boston?
well, I am a leader, a senior leader, so it's a little easier for me because I can tell them what to do.
Exactly.
I don't know what I would give to be in your position. to lead a bunch of men. That's great.
This is my first experience in a unit with this many men. I've primarily served in units where it's more equal women and men, so this is the first.
Our unit is a combat arms unit, so it has a lot of men in it. As the Army is transitioning female soldiers into more combat roles, the legacy of that is that units like ours typically have about 80 to 90% men in them. So you have a very unique opportunity to lead a lot of soldiers that aren't of the same gender.
The question is for three of you. If you turn back and think when you were a kid, have you ever imagined to be a soldier?
As a young child, no, I did not. But my brother went into the military when I was in high school, and I just decided that's when I wanted to go in. So I wasn't so young. But.
Dustin?
I didn't consider it until college. My dad was in the military, so even though he was in, I didn't consider it until college. I decided to become an officer.
If you had to choose between being a writer and soldier, which one would you choose?
Writer, by the way.
I would probably choose writer. I've enjoyed my time as a soldier, definitely, and it's definitely given me a lot of material for a writer. But ultimately, writing is what I want to do.
What did you like the most here?
What did I like the most?
Yeah.
Well, like I said, all the new material I got for as a writer. But
Except that.
honestly, I know it's kind of a cliche, but meeting so many different people, like she said, and like you mentioned, Kosovars, they appreciate the KFOR forces so much, and they say they look at us as heroes, but I guess I would leave here having gained some heroes myself. I've met a lot of people who grew up here, had the opportunity to go get like their master's degree or work experience in another part of Europe or the US, and they had the option to stay in those locations, but they came back here because they're willing to take a pay cut because they're so much invested in Kosovo's progress and future. And so being willing to make that sacrifice, I met with one this morning, and whether in the media or the locals, I walk away with those examples as having gained heroes myself as well.
Colonel, can you describe a normal day at Bonstil? What is it?
I don't have very many normal days.
Yeah, I was gonna. Normal's different.
Normal day.
I guess it's great.
Yeah, just every day is different. Every day is a different challenge, and it's presents a unique opportunity to do, what we're here for, and that's really to provide security for not only Kosovo, but really to stabilize the Balkans in general. And so that's what I wake up every morning trying to do, and I meet a lot of great people doing it.
So that's not boring at all. You get to go every day in different parts of Kosovo. What about your days?
My day?
Yeah. Is it quite strict?
She wakes up at like 5 o'clock to go work out every day.
5 o'clock?
I used to. I don't
Okay.
No. Lately, I have not woken up that early, but I do usually wake up at 5, work out, run, and then I go to work. My job primarily keeps me on Bonstil, but I do go to Camp Film City and out and about.
Do you need the permission to go out of camp?
Or how strict? What are the rules actually? Because not many of us know how Bonstil.
They need to keep track of us, of where we all are. So we have to put in. We have to put in what's called a trip ticket that basically says the vehicle we're taking, how many people we're taking, the time frame that we're leaving,
and when you're coming. Do you have any time zone when you have to go back at Bonstil during the evening, or you can spend night out? Because I haven't seen actually except on some occasions or celebrations that are.
You are from Kazakhstan. We see a lot of American soldiers downtown.
Really?
Yeah, they usually go out.
You go out, okay.
And maybe not in the evenings, but I see a lot during the day.
We usually have to be back by 9 o'clock, 2100. Usually our standard.
But there are exceptions, yeah? for
If it's
example?
mission related and you need to be out later, that's different. But if you just wanted to like go out and get dinner or something, 2100 or something.
Doesn't, can you describe your
My
usual
typical-
day? Yeah,
my
your
typical
typical day.
I wake up about 6, do a little writing, and then I go to work, and then. But for me, I get to get off post a lot because I obviously part of my job is to interact with the media, and so I go to a lot of TV and newspaper stations around.
That's fun.
Yeah, it has been. It's been a great time.
I
am not. No.
We met here because you are doing a. Can we reveal it here?
It's not confirmed yet, but we would like to do a show, work with the interior design show to remodel one of our. Our movie room on Camp Bondsteel. It's definitely in need of an upgrade.
Yeah.
And so we brought them out to look at to see what kind of plans they could put together.
Even though, like, your mission is over, like in.
For the next people, so they can enjoy
You're doing
it.
that.
Yeah.
So you're doing that
That's
for the
the
next
goal,
people, so you can enjoy. Where you go from here, from Kosovo afterwards?
So our unit's from Ohio, back in the United States, and so we'll all return back to Ohio when we're done here and go back to our friends and families and to, for a lot of us, our other job because we're not full-time soldiers.
Since you've been used, like going in different kind of missions, have any one of you been in a war zone?
So I think you've been deployed before. I've been deployed 4 times. And I will say that having been deployed in war zones, it's good to come to Kosovo because you see the progress that has been made when, like I said earlier, when peace has a chance to take a foothold, you see the progress, not just, culturally and socially, but you see it on a political scale, on a security scale. You don't see that when people are shooting at each other. And I think really the chance for the Balkans to exist in peace for a long period of time, the bullets have to stop. And that doesn't really necessarily happen in the Middle East, for instance, right now. But given the chance, I think there's a great opportunity for a new Balkans to exist that didn't exist for many, many centuries.
Have you been to Middle East?
I have. I was in Iraq in 2008.
For how long?
For a year.
When you told your family you're gonna, you will be here in Kosovo, what did they say? Because in the news,
The first question is where is it? Yeah.
Where is Kosovo?
What did you tell now them?
Well, they're a little more, since we've been here, they've been more familiar with it, but a lot of them are often surprised that we're still here because after 18 years.
Exactly.
But I guess we kind of look at that as a positive, meaning if you haven't heard about it, that means it's a stable environment and it's a peacekeeping mission, so it doesn't get covered as much in the media. So the fact that we're still here and they don't hear about it as much is kind of we consider it a good thing.
International news in the United States isn't a positive thing. It's usually based on a negative event or some type of controversy or something that has a lot of publicity worldwide. And because that doesn't happen in the United States, for instance, for Kosovo, it's a good thing.
Yeah.
Because it means that peace has taken root. It means that we are moving this forward. When I say we, really it's the people of Kosovo that are doing that with their Balkan neighbors, moving this to a different place than it used to be.
I've heard that someone told that Kosovo is a 5-star mission.
I mean, I can understand when you're in the Middle East, you don't have the freedom to travel and go to the cities and eat in the restaurants and shop at the stores. So, it's calm and a little more relaxed than, say, the Middle East. So,
Was it a 5-star mission to you, Dustin?
This is my first deployment, so I don't have the comparison that they have. But I had a great time, and
so you start from the 5-star mission,
right?
Send them to Afghanistan. Write another book.
Exactly.
Another love story.
Yes.
A lot of people are curious about your life as a soldier. What does a person need to have to be a soldier?
You mean what does it take to get in?
Yeah.
I think you could summarize it 3 C's: conditioning, competence, and character. So you have to have a certain level of physical fitness. You got to be able to pass a PT test, which is 2 minutes of push-ups, 2 minutes of sit-ups, and a 2-mile run. Depending on your age and gender, there's certain standards you have to hit. We can give you 6 months to get ready for it. And then competence, you got to take what's called the ASVAB, which is just a test that very broad test that probably tests you on like 10 to 12 different topics from math to history.
Are there equal standards for both genders, for women and men?
As far as the written test, physical PT standards, there's some slight differences. Yeah. And then character, the other C. I mean, you have to have a pretty clean record with the police. You can't have had any flaws there, because they would consider you a liability, that you'd just be someone that they have to spend a lot of time with once you get in trouble. So, yeah.
Ms. John, based on your experience, do you think that the Army is harder for women than for men?
I don't think that it's harder. I think every human being and every soldier has to have a level of mental toughness, physical toughness, and I think it's just broad across genders. Because there are women who are physically, stronger than some of the male soldiers. So,
like Sergeant John.
She's a PT stud.
The most misconceptions about women in military.
What are
the misconceptions in society about the woman in military?
Just that maybe they can't handle the stressful situations. Like Colonel Lusk was talking about, they've opened up the combat roles to females now, and there's a lot of controversy as to whether women have the mental and physical strength and ability to
They sure do.
conduct. Absolutely, that we've had a couple females just graduate from Ranger School, which is one of the toughest, mentally and physically schools that the Army has to offer. And so
it's like anything, when you try something new, you always have those naysayers that don't want to have progress. And so that's the challenge not only we have internally with women in the military, but you can look at that in the Balkans. Somebody who doesn't want to try some new ideas, will always get the pushback, always try to have that fatalistic view of the way things were, or maybe always look backwards. But you have to progress. You have to make things better, and you can't do that by staying the same. And our Army can't stay the same by keeping females out of the combat roles, and the Balkans can't stay the same if it keeps on wanting to fight each other.
How many years it takes to serve in military?
So the initial contract can be 4 to 6 years, depending on how you sign up. But then you can be like Sergeant John and myself, and we love it, and it's a part of our life. And as long as we enjoy doing it, and the Army enjoys having us, we'll probably still be here.
When you say like you're loving it, and when you go from after a mission, for example, like Kosovo or other places that you've been on mission, when you go back to family and friends, do you find that kind of life too safe or too boring or too plain? Do you get that kind of feeling? It's great to be back to families and friends and seeing them, but after a month, after a few months, do you miss going on the missions?
I guess it depends on how driven you are. Is it the specific job that drives you, or are you driven internally? I think a lot of people can find excitement doing many different things from time to time, depending on where they're at in their life. So I'm an internally driven person, and so while I may not wear the uniform every day when I go back home, I have another job that I do that I'm just equally as passionate about.
Okay, do you miss home while you are away?
Of course.
Okay, can you describe the feeling?
I just haven't got an answer from
you want an answer?
Yeah, from also Ms. John, because she's been a long time in the middle.
I am like him. The job that I do actually at home is for the military, so I actually do wear the uniform when I go home. Okay. I don't get deployed a lot, but I don't get bored. That's
part of being a soldier.
the Army has done really great things for my life. I've gotten an education, you know, civilian education, college education that the military has paid for. The pride, I'm honored to be a soldier. I think it's just, you know, being an American and protecting Americans and
Kosovo.
setting peace. Like KFOR has been here since 18 years now, and the numbers of soldiers have been decreasing. Like right now, how many are functioning in Bonsteel?
So at Bonsteel we have close to 700, maybe a little bit more or less, depending on when units are rotating in and out.
But at the beginning it was like 2,500.
Yeah, not at Bonsteel, but Kosovo wide. Okay. I'd hate to see 200,000 people come at Bonsteel.
Too crowded.
That would be pretty amazing. Pretty amazing. But that's because of the security environment. It's not the same as it was in '99. But the American forces, I can say, have maintained their strength or their numbers here pretty consistently for the last 5 years.
Okay, I would like to know, how are the troops chosen to serve for KFOR and in Kosovo, deployed in Kosovo? How were you chosen, for example? Or it's a decision that it doesn't depend on you?
Well, for me specifically, for the public affairs officer, there's only 3 people in Ohio, and one of them already had a full-time job with the military, so it was a pretty easy decision to choose me. But overall, I guess.
Yeah, Ms. John?
We chose her.
Some deployments like this one, they're highly sought after by soldiers, you know, in Ohio. I'm assuming across the National Guard, but yeah, I was chosen.
You were chosen.
Yes, she's chosen. I didn't mean to.
Why Kosovo is
I
chosen
didn't want to make it sound like that.
To build a Camp Bonsteel in this region, in this area.
Say that again.
Why was Camp Bonsteel put where it is?
Well, if you that part of Kosovo at the time in '99 had a lot of issues going on as Serbian forces were withdrawing. There was a lot of fighting going on in that area. But why Bonsteel? If you look at it from a geographical standpoint and from a terrain standpoint, it sits on top of some pretty high terrain, and so and it was readily available. When they came in and had to do lease agreements, and it's good access. I mean, you've been there. You can get to Ferizaj, you can get to Jalan, you can get up to Pristina. It's a good spot.
A lot of people would like to be part of U.S. military, but can people who are not American citizens be part of U.S. military?
Actually, they can. So they can enlist, and part of that enlistment is you get a chance to become a U.S. citizen. And so there are certain amount of slots that are opened up for that. In Germany, I had a soldier that was my motor officer that came from El Salvador, and he had been in that war as a child, that Civil War, and his family moved to San Francisco area, and he joined up in the military. He was not a U.S. citizen, but he became one through the military.
Do you have Albanians who are part of the American Army?
So we have
who are American citizens, of course, but originally Albanians.
Yeah, so we'll have one of our linguists at Camp Bonsteel is a former United States Marine who actually served overseas, and he came back and his family is from this area.
When you are in uniform, do people change the attitude towards you when you are out? Can you describe it, please? I would really like to. Here and everywhere.
Well, I've never been off of Camp Bonsteel out of uniform, so I don't know how. I can't compare the two to know how they would react to it.
Exactly.
What about USA?
Oh yeah, they definitely treat us differently. I mean, I've been saluted by a 4-year-old little kid in the airport, which was a great experience. But yeah, it's definitely. I mean, just like you guys appreciate the soldiers that are here in the U.S., it's also a high appreciation as well. And a lot of people voice that opinion when they see us.
Yeah, okay, what about you, Ms. John?
It's very similar. If we're out, eating lunch or, stopping off at the store on the way home, we have a lot of people stop and thank us, and kids who always are, look at that, look at her, yeah, so.
What would be your advice for all the women who wants to follow or pursue soldier life?
Oh, go for it. Go for it. Yeah, I love it. I would recommend it if that's what they want to do and they, have the drive. Then.
What is the drive?
The drive is just to want to serve your country, want to, aspire to be a soldier who, defends and fights for the freedoms of people.
Do you think more women should join the army?
We have a lot of women in the army, but sure. I mean, it just, I just think if man or woman, if that's what you want to do,
go for it.
Go for it. I recommend it.
What feeling do you get when you first get the news that you're going to be deployed?
Well, for somebody that's deployed a lot, your first thought is go back to your family, just because it's a big impact for them. Okay. How are they going to react to the being gone for a year? And so then you start to get into more logistics of how that happens.
How do they actually react?
Are you
married?
Yes, so it depends on their age. And so I've deployed multiple times and my kids have been different ages. And it affects them all differently, whether they're young or whether my two boys are teenagers. So, they're just happy that they still get allowances and they're still allowed to do all those things. They have their own life that doesn't revolve around mom and dad as much as
Would you recommend your kids to pursue your soldier life?
So my oldest son, who's 18 years old, is going to join the United States Army.
Okay.
So he will be part of my second family.
Is this usually a tradition within the American families to pursue the army if your dad has been in the army or your grandfather?
I think as you talked here, you got three people and each has somebody in their family that had been in the military.
I heard that, yeah.
So I think it's...
Her brother, his dad.
Yeah.
Was your dad a soldier?
No, my dad wasn't, but my uncle was. Yeah. And I always knew that was probably what I was going to do even as a young child. I just was driven in that direction.
How do you keep in touch with your family? Because we know time zone is different from Kosovo to USA.
You stay up late a lot.
Yeah. And you get up
yeah. You stay up late so you can talk to them at a decent hour. And but we have Wi-Fi, so we can do any number of face-to-face over the phone or text messaging even. Email,
You don't get to see them all this time.
Right.
Never. You don't have vacations during your deployment?
If you go, we can take leave, sort of like a vacation. And if you choose to go home, you can, or some of the soldiers brought their families over to somewhere in Europe and got to see them. I did not.
Yeah, but being in contact with family has changed and it's being much easier right now compared to 20 years ago. Yeah,
it's a little bit different. Yeah, it's a little bit different. It's easier now. Sometimes that's good. So you relied a lot on letters. There was email back then, but it was very not as readily available, right? So people didn't have their own email accounts, or you didn't have Wi-Fi in your room. So it was there were phones that were set up that you could go and use and call home, and that was mostly how communication was back then.
Yeah, and the line was always bad.
Yeah, it was bad, and you had a time limit because everybody was stacked up behind you.
Exactly.
How do they react when you get back at your home country? Are they happy?
Yeah.
I see a lot of videos of soldiers going back home, and that's awesome.
Surprising their families
that's awesome.
and children. Yeah.
Is that actually like that?
I don't know that everybody has a surprise for their kids when they get home, but I think all of us will have some celebration immediately getting home with our families and friends.
Okay. What?
The thing is that when you go back, you bring something. You send them some presents. What is the thing that you're gonna take with you from Kosovo? What you're gonna send as a present to your friends and families?
Well, I got to make sure this airs after I get home, right? Because we don't want to spill the surprise, right? So
you don't show them the link till you go back.
Like you watching the show though?
Oh, absolutely.
July, so.
Absolutely. This is.
What about you? Do you want to spill the surprise? No.
I don't have particular gifts for them, but something that I'm bringing back is a Christmas gift that some fellow soldiers gave to me. It's a 60-pound lion statue that I had to get it through the customs guy, had to okay it, but it made I probably have the heaviest bag now of any of the soldiers because I decided to bring it back with me.
What will you be missing the most from Kosovo? The 5-star.
Well, I miss. This isn't just specific to Kosovo. It's just specific to like deployments in the military. Is the team, like they're my family, my unit for me, and I'm sure for the both of them.
Have you known them before Kosovo?
I did not know either one, but they quickly, you train up, you spend so much time together, you know, you're in close proximity for a year, and they become your family. And when you go home, well, you're so happy to see your real family. You do kind of go through a period of time where you miss what you've had. You know, you miss the family.
Keep in touch even after deployments.
I think it's a little easier for us because we're all in Ohio, so we don't go like to different states and never see each other again. So I think for the most part we do. I was deployed 10 years ago, and I still am good friends with a lot of the people I was deployed with. So,
Dustin, what do you do on free time here in Kosovo? Watch Netflix?
Do you have free time?
Yeah, you have.
He said to me,
Exactly.
If you do, I want to know about it.
Yeah, we're towards the end now, so I can say.
He's out for hunting for love stories.
Yes.
At Camp Bondsteel, you have a lot of time to work out. So a lot of soldiers, we talked about physical training, and the commander at the beginning of the deployment is like, you soldiers are going to be in the 300 club, either the 300-pound club because you can have as much food as you want to eat in the cafeteria, or you have all this time to work out, you can join the 300 club, which on the physical fitness test, a 300 is the highest score you can get. So we've had a lot of soldiers join the 300 club and lose a lot of weight.
So you work out on your free time?
Yeah, and write a lot.
Don't give him extra work.
Yeah,
Don't give him extra. Okay, we heard that.
After the show, you will have your rules, your jobs. Dashte me pyet për objektivat e KFOR-it.
Okay, I have another question. Dini said it in Albanian. It is what were the objectives of KFOR when you arrived at Kosovo, and which of these objectives were fulfilled by Camp Bondsteel?
Yeah, so we have multiple objectives. The main one is to maintain a safe and secure environment inside of Kosovo, and so what we did is provided that response in case something happened for crowd riot control and all that. Now, we were never called out because fortunately, as this region has more peace and they work out their differences through the political process, you don't have as many people rioting and trying to gain political advantage through that method, because it's not productive. So we did maintain that. We maintain the security along the ABL with Serbia. So we probably spend about 80% of our efforts in conducting joint patrols with the Serbian Armed Forces, as well as joint patrols with Kosovo Border Police, and so we did a lot of that. You know, saw a lot of beautiful terrain along the ABL. And then the other thing is just maintaining our relationships with the communities that we live in.
While Kosovo is quite peaceful and it's stable, how long do you think American KFOR will be here? Because we want them to be like forever. Forever, in a way.
I would tell you that the American commitment to Kosovo is not tied to KFOR.
All right.
Okay.
So KFOR could decide that they've met all the goals that have been set forth in UN Resolution 1244 and the Military Technical Agreement, and decide that now is the time for KFOR to end its mission. That doesn't mean the United States will go.
We'll end it.
Camp Bondsteel is an American facility. It's not a NATO facility, and so I would say that the stability of the Balkans, while it's being executed right now through KFOR, it's not solely the only way, and so we have a vast American interests in this region, as do many other countries, and I think we'll be here for a while.
And there is a huge American embassy that is building right in Pristina.
Yeah, you just don't.
I'm going to say no citizenship.
You don't build large buildings like that if you don't have a lot of interest in the region.
Would you prolong your position here?
As I said, I think I have the best job in Kosovo, so I would not say no if asked to do so.
So can you return back after you go back in US?
I could not return in this position.
You cannot return in this position.
No, there's another commander coming in right behind me.
But then after 10 months again, when he's leaving.
Maybe another position here.
Okay. But there is a chance of coming back.
Sure.
There's a lot of soldiers in our unit who were deployed here in 2004, and then now 12 years later, they've come back again. They've been some of the best examples. Like, I've used them a few times to be interviewed by media because they can compare, they can see the progress so better than us. We just read about it in the news or something, but they have firsthand experience. So yeah, this is how it used to be, and this is how much it's changed in just the 12 years since we were last here.
Exactly.
I have another question.
All right.
Yeah, I would like to know the last one.
Yeah.
Okay, I would like to know. Can you describe the hardest day spent in Kosovo? When you woke up and you didn't want it to be here.
Did you have the hardest day?
Yeah.
Yeah. Because you're all the time talking in superlative for this country and the positions and everything, but there must have been a hard day for you.
Every job
a bad hair day, maybe.
We can just shave our head. That's
for me, the hardest day was the first day. Because it's the first day away, not the first day away from family, but, it's the first day in your area of assignment away from your family. So, that's kind of a personal thing. But, it also was, you knew that you had a job to do, and I had a lot of months ahead of me that we were going to do our job, and so that was my hardest day.
Okay.
I think that the holidays, Christmas, probably was the toughest time for me. Just
what do you do for Christmas in Campa? So there must be an activity or celebration. He wants to say something.
Yeah, well, this is a great lead-in because for Christmas for us, we had a local orchestra from Farazai come and play for us, who is going to be playing for you afterwards. And after hearing them at Camp Bondsteel, when I knew this show opportunity and how it was set up, where there's an interview first and then a concert afterwards, they were the obvious choice. And so we've been working with them past few weeks to going to their rehearsals to see, and they've put something together pretty good, and looking forward to hearing.
For the 4th of July at the Camp Bondsteel too?
No, it's a little short notice. It's a little short notice for that. You have to plan ahead. Yeah, this will air on the 4th of July. They'll have the audience of all of Kosovo instead of just the soldiers.
Thank you a lot for that.
Yeah, just to say, Lieutenant, you're doing a great job while you've been here for 10 months. You've been going in media and doing a great job, putting forward also in front of camera in a way, because it has been a while that we haven't had any communication with KFOR, especially also with US.
I had that impression the first couple months I was here, and decided that the goal, the plan, it should not be that we hide from the media. That's not the best way, because some people are afraid of talking to the media because they think words might get manipulated, or they might say something.
Right. So we're here as KFOR and the citizens of Kosovo and the citizens of the Balkans in general. We're all in this together, and I think we all have the same interest to keep Kosovo safe, secure, and to move the progress forward.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. It was an honor and pleasure having you here, and happy 4th of July one more time. We're going to come back. No, I'm going to start in Albania now. Ne do të kthehemi vetëm pas pak me pjesën e dytë, në fakt ku orkestra e qytetit të Ferozajt me dirigjente Lindita Jusufin do të kemë performancat e tyre, do ta kemi edhe kapitenin Larry Lip, i cili do t'i këndoj 2 këngë, gjithashtu edhe Djelzën, Erzën dhe Liridonën, e cila do ta përmbyllë edhe pjesën e dytë të këtij edicioni special të NIN-it 18 me KFOR-in amerikan për 4 korikën. Kthehemi pas pak, qëndroni me ne.